Hello and welcome back to the Review. Today we are back with another crypto video. After numerous requests from a lot of new viewers of mine, I finally compiled a nice little PowerPoint followed by a step-by-step tutorial on how to invest in Pulsechain. So you want to sit back, get your notebook, get your popcorn and relax and enjoy this video. It'll be slightly longer, but it shouldn't be too long, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and get something or learn something new by the end of this video. So make sure to comment and let me know how you found it. But nonetheless, I've been getting a lot of requests on how to invest in Pulsechain, and today we're going to go over what is investing in Pulsechain, because I know a lot of you guys have different ideas of this. You think of this as a one entity to invest in, but it can be divided into multiple categories, which we will cover today. And we will cover today as well, what is Pulsechain? What is Pulse? What's Pulse X? And a lot of these words that you guys can hearing around. So I just want to make this is kind of an introduction of what you want to understand in terms of context wise, jumping into the Pulsechain network. That's another keyword that I'm going to cover. So yeah, I just want to also kind of give a keynote that I am not telling you guys which tokens to invest in, but I'm just simply keeping this educational, because I've done other videos about sentimental analysis and data driven, i.e. my actual investments. That's for another video. This video is mainly educational on how to give you the tools and the ways to invest in the Pulsechain, ecosystem, which we'll cover right now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. So the first thing is, Pulsechain is a network, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and we're gonna get to what type of network it is. Okay, I'm gonna spoil it right now. It is a fork of Ethereum, but we will get to more details into this later. But when I think of Pulsechain, when someone says, "Hey Khaled, hey DJ, how can I invest in Pulsechain?" Immediately in my head, the person asking should give me more context, because when I think of Pulsechain, I think of 3 different ecosystems, and this is what I kind of drafted up here. You guys obviously can do the rest of your research. When you hear Richard Hart ecosystem, you're mainly talking about the native token of Pulsechain, or the native coin of Pulsechain, the layer 1, which is PLS, and the native DEX, which is PulseX. And there you go, it's right here. And if you guys see, what does the $ mean? We're just using that to denote the ticker of the token / coin, right? And ticker is basically a symbol of what the token is. Keep this in mind, there can be other tokens with the same ticker, but this is just a visual understanding, a shorthand version of the full name. So you got Pulse, PulseX, Hex, P-Hex, which is basically Pulse version of Hex, and then you got E-Hex. Now, I'm not going to give backgrounds on what are these and what differences they are, but these are what you would, these are subsets of the Richard Hart ecosystem. Second of all, if you guys haven't heard, the ATROPA ecosystem, the 414 dev, any bells that's ringing? This is obviously, well, if you didn't know, this is to do with all the 414 deployed contracts, which are ATROPA, you got Teddy Bear, you got TSFI, Monarch Money. This is just me mentioning a few, and I'm going to show you guys as well how to double check that a token that you're looking at is truly made by the 414 dev. And finally, you got PRC20s. What are PRC20s? I'm going to explain how Pulsechain worked, is because it's a fork of Ethereum with slightly different changes, right? That makes it more efficient, makes it quicker, better scalability, etc. One of the key features that made it attractive to those Ethereum people specifically is that just the day before it went live, the day before Pulsechain launched, it took a snapshot of Ethereum and every single token on there, and every single holders and how many tokens they're holding. And Richard Hart airdropped every single one of them a 1-to-1 airdrop in Pulsechain. So if you think about, and this comes to, I guess one of the speculative plays, which is PWBTC, or it is WBTC, right? Because it's the same contract address on Ethereum. The same contract address is in Pulsechain, but we just denote, we add that prefix P to let people know that we're talking about the Pulsechain version of it, the Ethereum airdrop version of it, right? The speculation is that obviously once it's been airdropped, it starts off at a $0 value in the Pulse chain. And the speculation is that, okay, this gives another chance for people to buy things, you know, at an earlier stage. For example, with PWBTC right here is going around $100, where the actual parity price of Bitcoin, as you guys know, is around what, $35,000 today. So that's kind of the speculative play. The same thing goes with PDAI, trying to become the truly the first of its own kind, the truly decentralized stablecoin. And as with every network / chain, it needs to have a stablecoin that is running on its own network. That just that's kind of the backbone of every chain. It needs to have a native running stable coin. We can't really rely on USDT or other DAI from Ethereum, because of it's technically bridged over from Ethereum. But if we were using that over in Pulsechain, that gives a lot of opportunity for arbitrage, flash loan attacks, and that is just going to drain a lot of money from people and traders, and that's just not healthy. But anyways, this is just the PRC20s. You could argue that this is a subset of Richard Heart ecosystem. Okay, simple as that. So if you think of PRC20s, automatically kicks in your head Ether airdrops. The most mainly talked about PDAI right now, pegging to the $1. That's the speculation. PWBTC, parity to Bitcoin price. PLUSD is as well, even more speculative, pegging to the $1, right? So before we jump into how to actually invest in those, ladies and gentlemen, we have to take a step back. Okay, let's understand and cover the basics, and let's just take a step back and let's go through it. First of all, as I said, Pulse, the ticker is PLS, is the native token of Pulse chain. Is a coin. Pulse is a coin. Pulse chain is a network fork of Ethereum, as I said, hard fork of Ethereum. What are the differences of it? We will cover it now. And the third point here as well is that this is not Pulse chain is not listed in any of those centralized exchanges yet. Oh, hold on. What is a centralized exchange? I'm glad he asked. We're going to get to the other points in a second, but let's cover this one first. Here you have it. In front of us is a centralized exchange vs decentralized exchange kind of difference. If you heard of the phrase, not your keys, not your crypto, this is what they mean by it. Now, those two exchanges have their own purposes, and today we're going to be kind of briefly covering them. So let's start with the centralized exchange, which is on the left. Number one is that it is highly regulated. Number two is that it's centralized by organizations. Okay, so it's not autonomous. I mean, it is in a way, but it's still governed by a organization. It's highly regulated. Obviously, there's stuff like KYC that needs to be happening. If you guys didn't know, KYC is know your... Oh, I forgot to see. But it's basically an identification kind of level. I believe there's 3 levels of KYC. And yeah, the third point here, the centralized exchange are in control of your crypto assets. Okay, this kind of gets you that risk. And this is why a lot of people say only use centralized exchanges as middleman. Do not keep your tokens on a centralized exchange, because that is just a risk of that centralized exchange going into bankruptcy. You guys have seen what happened with FTX, and you got another one, Celsius, I believe, and there's probably even other ones that went bankrupt. And you guys know when that goes bankrupt, they're not liable of returning your crypto holdings, because it's not in your hands. Technically, it is in their hands. They have control over it. The point here, next point, is high liquidity. This is obviously a plus. High liquidity means much lower chances of impermanent loss when you're trading. And then the final point here is trading options such as spot trading, future trading, etc. There's actually another point that I didn't mention, that I forgot to mention, is that obviously centralized exchange has better access to fiat ramps, on and off ramps. That's what we call it. Fiat is obviously the real life currency. Moving on to decentralized exchange, and this is a nice visual that I attached here. You can see that centralized exchange has to go through the middle entity to reach the other point or any other points. So that's a good visualization. Decentralized exchange as well, it's almost like a peer-to-peer network, and we're going to see why with the first point, which is depending on liquidity providers. It's fully decentralized. There is no, you have control over your own assets because you're only interacting with the decentralized exchange momentarily to do your trade. Simple as that, really, right? The third thing is that there is no KYC. There is no AML standards. So that's good. So wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're holding, you can absolutely use a decentralized exchange. It's a good thing. Lower liquidity. Now, this is obviously it is a downside. I'm not saying it's a low liquidity, therefore you don't want to use decentralized exchange. It's just lower when you compare it to centralized exchanges. But lower liquidity basically means higher chance of impermanent loss because of more market fluctuations. But this is why it is important to, when you do a trade, you want to keep that slippage controlled at 1%. I'll get to that when we reach to it as well. And yeah, the good thing about decentralized exchanges is that they're always accessible to users. There's no kind of regulation, so that is a good thing. Okay, this is the point where it goes, not your keys, not your crypto. You don't want to be keeping your crypto assets on a centralized exchange. You want to be keeping it on a hot/cold wallet. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into, or actually I'm not going to go at all into what is the difference between hot and cold wallet, but hot wallet is stuff like Metamask, Coinbase wallet, Trust wallet, etc. So next up is Ethereum via Pulsechain. This is a big one. This is a big, not really a debate because it's pure factual at this point, right? But people look at it as, okay, is Ethereum the bigger brother of Pulsechain? So that should always be that kind of notion about it, or is Pulsechain gonna overtake Ethereum? Again, that's for another video, but we're just going to look at the facts right here. What is the difference? Number one is Pulsechain simply has faster block times. So that makes it more efficient. Now, one similarity obviously is that Ethereum and Pulsechain are both proof of stake because of Ethereum, the new migration. Well, it's not really new anymore. Ethereum 2.0 moved it from a proof of work to proof of stake, which obviously proof of work is not really efficient on electricity and other reasons as well. Obviously, because with proof of stake, how it works is with validators, which doesn't really need any computing power. You just have to kind of lock your assets, stake them, and then you validate, help other people make their transactions. You get some fees, everyone's happy, and it is all sustainable. The good thing about so Ethereum is an inflationary network. Pulsechain is actually not. Pulsechain bears 25% of each transaction fee, making it officially deflationary. So that's a plus. The fourth point, which is honestly the biggest point for me, is that the cheaper transactions. You got transactions literally costing pennies, if not even less than pennies, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, Pulsechain is more scalable due to its young phase of blockchain. There's such a big room for improvement. Pulsechain is not even in the top 50 of CoinMarketCap. So yeah, tons of room for improvement. And you got projects like Liquid Loans, projects like Fetch Oracle. That's again for another video. I made videos about them so you can check them out. But those are stuff that will take Pulsechain to the next level, making it more appealing for actual, decentralized finance, for just normal application, dApps, any types of dApps, DAOs, everything, ROIs, everything. But yeah, moving on. Pulse is not listed on those centralized exchanges. What is the reason? But the keyword here, well, actually I didn't add it. It's not listed yet. Okay. The first one is because Pulsechain is still new. It launched earlier this year, halfway through this year. So that's one reason. Sometimes it takes time as well to be listed on like Binance, to be listed on crypto.com, to be listed on Coinbase and other places. But there's a second reason to it. Now, the person behind Pulsechain is the same person behind Hex. And that person is Richard Hart. I personally think he is a legend, but I'm not really going to get into opinions here, even though I just threw one. Act like you didn't hear that. But Richard Hart is in quote-unquote trouble with the SEC. So that could have been a kind of a blocker for some of those centralized exchanges from listing. So once the SEC, either the case, Richard Hart wins the case or finds a settlement, then things will look in the upside, which I believe there should be an update sometime this month. I'm not really sure. I'm not really up to date, but that is one of the reasons. Okay, Pulsechain is very, very new. That's why it takes time. And the second thing is that Richard Hart is with some heat with the SEC. Not that Richard Hart, technically, he is not the, obviously there's a separate dev team that's not in trouble with the SEC. Pulsechain is fully operable without Richard Hart. Richard Hart is simply just the person who, funded, or started this movement, really, right? So yeah, other mentions. Oh, sorry, actually. So therefore, the fact that it's not in any centralized exchanges, we have to use a bridge. So for example, if you are easily able to get your fiat money using Binance to BNB or to Ethereum, we now want to turn your Ethereum / BNB / whatever into Pulsechain, and we have to use bridges. Okay, one of my favorite bridges, if not it is my favorite bridge, and almost exclusively the only bridge that I use, is change.io, and I will show how to use that in today's video, step by step. So stay tuned to that. Other mentions is bridge.pulsechain.com, which is basically an Ethereum to Pulse. There's Portal X, swap.io, app.pulseln.com, and safe.trade. Safe.trade, keep that in mind that this one needs a sign up and KYC, probably level 1, and this is more for experts in crypto. Okay, so yeah, if you're good on crypto, you understand how things work, how market buys, and looking at lots of numbers, I would go for safe.trade. But there's other alternatives that are easier, such as Change Now, honestly. So yeah, this is my recommendation, the part right here. For a hot wallet, I personally use Metamask. I know a lot of people use Trust Wallet. I use my Trust Wallet on my phone, but for Chrome extensions, I would say Metamask is probably the best one, in my opinion. I'm not sure if it is the fact, but that's what we're going to go with today. So yeah, Metamask as your hot wallet. So hot wallet is basically a wallet that's connected to online. Okay, it's as simple as that, really. I'm not going to go any deeper into that. And then yeah, the next thing is the decentralized exchange for Pulsechain. There's 2 out right now that are kind of the biggest, I'd say. One is Pulse X. Obviously, that's the native DEX for Pulsechain, pulsex.com. And the second one is 9inch.io. Now, this one is kind of a newer one, but we're going to kind of cover either way how to use it and get on it as well, because there's a thing to do with liquidity. Some tokens that are launching are setting liquidity exclusively for one or the other. Now you can set liquidities for both at the same time, but obviously those are separate pools. Now I'm going to quickly just explain what is liquidity. If you think about it, I love to use the ATM analogy. You can't really exchange any token without liquidity. What is liquidity? If you think about it, it's literally such as money in the ATM. If you are going to an ATM and you have $100,000 in your bank and you want to withdraw that $100,000 in your bank from the ATM, if the ATM doesn't have money, it will literally not give you your $100,000 or $500, any amount, because there is no liquidity. You need liquidity to be able to exchange a token. What is a liquidity? Liquidity is a dual asset kind of pool that is usually from a token A to a token B. This could be, for example, if we speak about you want to invest in Pulse X, let's say, there will be a liquidity pool for Pulse X to Pulse. There will be a liquidity pool for Pulse X to DAI. There will be a liquidity for Pulse X to anything else, to I don't know, BNB, or not BNB, Pulses to Wrapped ETH, for example. So yeah, that's why you have different pools that are usually dual assets from one to another. So that's kind of the very, very short introduction to what is liquidity pools. And yeah, so you need liquidity to be able to actually invest or trade a token. Okay, simple as that. So these are the 2 exchanges that you want to look at. There's another one, SparkSwap, as well. Really good. But these are the two that I will kind of talk about today. And Metamask, that's the logo for Metamask, and we're going to show you guys how to use it in a second. So next up, which this is where it will actually turn into a step-by-step kind of thing, adding Pulsechain network to your Metamask. This doesn't happen automatically, unfortunately, because Metamask by default just has Ethereum on it. But yeah, and we are ready to go. As I said, one final thing, use a front end. So the final thing, obviously, once you have your Metamask ready, what you want to do is have a nice front-end real-time multi-blockchain analyzer. Okay, very detailed description of another way to say, a graph, a chart website, which is Dex Screener. That's the one I really recommend. It shows which DEX the LP is added to and much more. Obviously graphs, so you can draw lines and stuff. Another mention is dextools.io. This one is also really, really great, especially if you want to analyze different liquidity pools and see their APRs. But that's for another video. But yeah, I'm going to quickly skip out of my PowerPoint to jump in to show you guys what is the next thing. How can you actually now use your Metamask, which is the one that I have up here, right? This is when you open it. I'm currently in the, let's say, base mainnet, or let's say I'm in the Ethereum mainnet, for example. But I want to, add Pulsechain, which is not here at the moment. Let's just imagine it's not there. What you want to do, you want to click on Add Network. Okay. While that loads, you want to open a website called pulsechain.com. Simple as that. What you want to do is, first of all, if it doesn't work, okay, or if it does work, try to click on add pulsechain.metamask. It's as simple as clicking one button and it will automatically assign it. You can click switch network or add network, whatever it prompts you to do. But if it doesn't do anything and you need to do it manually, what you want to do once you've clicked, the normal add network, from the top left right here, add network, it'll get you to this page. You want to click on add network manually, because Pulsechain, it does not show in the drop down, unfortunately, not yet. But you want to click on add manually and it will ask you some blanks to fill. And pulsechain.com obviously is the Pulsechain website. You trust it. It gives you the network name. All you want to do is literally paste it over. It gives you the RPC URL. RPC URL is basically kind of like a node server that keeps track of transactions and sends them forward to wherever they need to go. Okay, I believe that's a very shorthand description. Chain ID, not really sure, but kind of self-explanatory really. Symbol, pulse, don't really change anything. You can technically change the symbol to be whatever you want. Block Explorer URL, usually obviously it is just a different subdomain of the main website. It's optional, but obviously I recommend everyone putting it, because it just helps for you to just kind of see your transaction link when you do a transaction. So that's really helpful. So just paste it in, just paste everything in and just click on save. I'm going to assume this is, URL is being used, because I cannot save it because I'm already using this RPC URL. This is kind of the most important blank here to fill, right? Chain ID, I'm actually curious, what is it? Chain ID is used for signing transaction. It must match the chain ID returned by the network. You can enter decimal 0 hex or 0 hex, which is hexadecimal, preferred hexadecimal number, but we will display the number in decimal. Quite simple, but that's it. You click on save and there you go. Bingo. You have Pulsechain network. Okay. Now you want to switch to Pulsechain network once you want to interact with Pulse X, which is the decentralized exchange. As you see, like, this is what it did. It prompts you automatically switch network in wallet. You click that. Most of the things are literally one click of a button and it does it for you. But obviously, if you want to switch it, really simple. In the bottom left of your Metamask, you click this and then you click on Pulsechain. That's it. And you can switch back anytime. But unfortunately, you can't be on multiple networks at the same time. If you think about it, this is just a front end thing, right? All your crypto information is on the blockchain. Metamask is just a front end UI that interacts with the blockchain and shows you as a user interface, right? Feature. And obviously, when you switch networks, you're rerouting your Metamask to read somewhere else. You know what I mean? And that's kind of simple as that. Kind of the reason why you can't really connect into two blockchains at the same time, or two networks at the same time. Okay, but I'm sure that could possibly be a thing in the future. It's just unnecessary feature. But yeah, that's kind of it really. But the second thing I want to show you guys, obviously, is I'm gonna play as a case where I'm one of you guys. I'm new to Pulsechain. I have my money, let's say, in base ETH, which is basically gonna be the same, the same steps as if you had BNB, as if you had Ethereum, as if you had, anything really. You want to go to changedown.io, which I mentioned is the bridge. Okay, link in the description. Changedown.io, simple as that. And then yeah, basically, so what I'm gonna say, and they support a lot, and I say a lot of different bridges, which is really good. So I'm gonna type base ETH. Okay, this is gonna be my first. Well, let's type base. This is gonna be my first time investing. Let's say investing in Pulsechain, and I want to switch my base ETH to Pulsechain. This is kind of the only way right now, unfortunately, unless you find some fiat to Pulsechain services. I'm not really sure. You can Google that, but obviously proceed with caution. Double check that these are reliable and stuff like that. But yeah, once you have the two tokens that you have ready, so from base Ethereum to Pulse, I want to send literally how much I have. So how much do I have actually? Let's cancel this for now. I have 0.1. Let's not send everything. Let's just send 0.01, which should give me 266k Pulse. That's pretty not bad. You click on exchange, and then it takes you to this part right here. What you want to do, it asks you next your recipient wallet. Where do you want that bridged over Pulse? You can actually request it in another wallet, or you can request in the same wallet. Okay, so what you want to do is paste in the wallet that you want. So for example, do not paste in your centralized exchange wallet, because I don't think it supports it. Sometimes it only allows certain types of transactions. So please, you only want to receive your Pulse in a hot wallet, such as a wallet in Metamask, Trust Wallet, or Coinbase wallet, right? So I'm going to copy and paste my wallet. This can be anything. So you click on next, and it obviously asks you to confirm. You click on confirm, and then now this is this part that is not really tricky, but it is straightforward. What you want to do, okay, let's say you have this money ready to send from your Binance app or from another hot wallet that's an Ethereum wallet. It gives you this address that you need to send over the amount that you want to exchange, and then it will do the rest for you. And I like this live visualization right here. It shows you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the address, take my MetaMask. Okay, I'm going to click on send, and then you paste in the address. Simple as that. Double check that you have the right address by looking at the last three characters, 247, and then put in exactly, and I mean exactly, the amount that it is stating right here. Okay, you do not want things to go wrong. So 0.01, which equates to $18.87, not bad. And then you click on confirm, and then we're gonna sit back and relax. Okay, relax and enjoy a small little confirmation. But I will skip over to Dex Screener and how and why Dex Screener is really valuable, really useful tool. But I just want to in a second confirm that at least we have passed awaiting deposit. We can also check the confirmation. There you go, it's been confirmed. So literally in a matter of seconds, if I refreshed, because you have your transaction ID up here, so I'm just going to copy that just in case if I missed it. I'm going to refresh. There you go, awaiting deposit, confirming. It confirmed it. So exchanging, we're in this process. This usually takes 2 minutes, by the way, really great. But keep in mind, sometimes this can take to 5 to 10 minutes. So yeah, keep that in mind. So the next thing that we want to do, okay, let's actually invest in Pulse, right? So what do you want to do? Dex Screen is really a great tool that I use. So I'm going to just type in Pulse, or actually let's type in WPLS. Wrapped PLS, right? Because you can't really show Pulse on graph charts. You can only do the wrapped PLS, and it's basically wrapped PLS is a 1-to-1 to PLS, right? I know that sounds kind of confusing, but just get used to wrapped PLS is PLS. Okay, so for example, I want to invest in Pulse X, and this is the liquidity pair that I'm looking at specifically. So Pulse X to WPLS. So kind of things to look at here. In the top right, it says it's on Pulsechain, so that's the network that it's on. And right here it says it's on Pulse X. So the liquidity pool, which is right here, which is 37.5 million, is in the Pulse X. Now, why is this important? That means it's only tradable through Pulse X. Okay. The good thing about DEX screen that I really like is that you can literally open up Pulse X, and it does it automatically by clicking this button right here. So once you click this button, unless it doesn't show up, which it does this sometimes with specific graphs for some reason. But for example, if you go on here, you click on trade. Okay, not this one either. That's crazy. Okay, let's just do ATROPA, for example. Okay, ATROPA, if you want to invest in ATROPA ecosystem, and there you go. You know that it's Pulsechain because of the logo. You click on this, you click on trade. Okay, and it actually loads up. There you go. So it opens like a mini window in the web browser, which is so convenient. And then now you can connect by clicking connect wallet, connect Metamask, and it will ask you automatically to switch to Pulsechain, which we're going to switch to. And that's beautiful. There you go. You know, and it shows you the amount. And I believe I have my extra amount because I can see the extra numbers. And there you go. Finished. Exchange took 1 minute. Thank you for using Change Now. Really, really lovely website. I love the service. Could not recommend it more. So yeah, use that. And obviously there's the other list that you can take a look at for your preferences, really. And yeah, so there we go. So we have our Pulse, and we want to exchange it for ATROPA. This is just theory or theoretical. I mean, I'm not actually going to exchange. This can be anything. Okay, it can be ATROPA. It can be PLS. It can, yeah, if you want to exchange it back to PLS, right? So, or if you want to invest in, you know, Pulse X, which is the token, the native token of, or the token of the exchange, the DEX. You can invest in other stuff like Hex, right? There's multiple hexes, as I said. There's eHex, there's Hex, and there's pHex. Difference between them, I'm not going to go through it on this video. But for example, if you want to buy a Hex with your, you know, Pulse, the first thing, as I said, if you remembered, is the slippage. You want to keep the slippage at 1% just in case. Basically, what does slippage tolerance mean is that by the time you click on enter, you click on transact, it will only allow the price to slip by a certain percentage before it rejects the transaction. This is a safety feature. Really like it. It's really important. You always want to just keep that slippage at 1%. Really, don't go over that unless a certain project states you to, like, you know, sometimes I'm going to go 5% because the project is new, so there's a lot of fluctuation. So, but by the time you click on trade, that price has fluctuated within the 5% slippage. So yeah, but 1% slippage should be fine. Keep that as a default. Don't worry about expert mode. Keep that off, as I recommend. You'll only need to know about expert mode when you reach that bridge. Okay, so don't worry. I'm leaving it on just for my own sake. Well, because I know what I'm doing. You will get to that point when you reach it, but really, honestly, don't worry about it. This is mostly for when you are in new token launches and you need to do something really quickly, no matter what. Okay, but for the most part, you just focus on slippage tolerance. Keep that on 1% so that you don't lose money, right, through impermanent loss, for example. So yeah, that's it really. If you want to invest in Hex, you put in the stated amount. The lovely thing about Pulse X is that it shows you visual value of equivalent, right? So $29, I'll get 29.10, 29. So that's what I'll get. Pretty fair deal. And that's kind of it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, the same thing goes to a 9-inch, the DEX right here. This is another one. It's kind of new, but this is also kind of similar. You can use it. Now, this is a case where I'll show you guys how DEX screen is amazing, where it recognizes which pool on which DEX and a token is on, and it will automatically show you and allow you to trade. So for example, there's a token that is called 9-inch Nights. So if you want to buy that, and it shows you right here in the top right, it shows you that eggplant emoji, and it tells you where the liquidity pool is shown. So that means you can, this token or this pair specifically, where, by the way, a token can have multiple liquidity pairs, right? But this pair specifically is on 9-inch, so you can only buy this pair through the 9-inch. So what you can do is click on trade 9-inch, which it automatically recognizes, and now you're able to open a small little window, which is so nice and useful, convenient. I love Deck Screener, by the way. You can have your own watch list. You can have multi-charts. Again, that's for another video. You can draw diagrams, lines, you know what I mean? See changes, all-time highs, make graphs, draw some, analysis kind of lines, do the Fibonacci sequence. Really, really great stuff. Such customizable thing. Add text, for example, and just be like, need to buy more. Check back tomorrow. Really anything, right? And the good thing about this website is that it remembers it through cookies. Okay, so even if I've typed this and I literally refreshed, it will literally load everything again. At least I hope so. Whoa. No, it will. But obviously, if you want to secure it and then be able to open it on your phone or in another desktop, laptop, you want to sign in. Okay, simple as that, really. Obviously, you can draw lines, which is really, really interesting. So many different types of line, horizontal lines. So, oh, that's a support level. Oh, that's a resistance level. Oh, all of a sudden, I'm an artist. Whoa, so many lines. Okay, I'll stop doing that. But yeah, this is why Deck Screener is really useful. It automatically recognizes which liquidity pool, which decks you need to go on, and you can open the decks on that within the website, graph website, do your technical analysis. Really great stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, that is kind of it. Let us go back to the PowerPoint. Let's skip over here. My recommendation, add Pulsechain, and then that's it, ladies and gentlemen. The end. I hope you guys understood, learned something new about Pulsechain, understood how to invest in it. Remember, there's so many different things. When you say invest in Pulsechain, this is a term that needs more context. Are you talking about the Richard Hart ecosystem? Are you talking about the PDAI ecosystem? Are you talking about the PRC20s ecosystem? I've made tons of videos. You can go watch my latest videos, or all of my latest videos if you have time, right? You guys can see my crypto journey, my thoughts. I really hope to keep them non-hype, more data driven, type of no bias, really. Don't get attached to your bags, right? This is another quote I hear. Don't get attached to your bags. So you always want to take some profits here and there, get your initial back as soon as possible, let the rest moon or go to dust, really. That's kind of a concept called moon bag, right? But again, this is not really the topic for today's video, but I've given you guys all the ways. I've taught you guys how you can invest in Pulsechain, whether if it's in Pulse, you just want to buy and hold Pulse, the native token, could 10x, but the bull run, I don't know. That's what you might think, and that could be the reason why you want to invest in Pulse, X, Hex, PHEX, or in the ATROPA ecosystem with a 414 dev and an ATROPA, in Teddy Bear, the meme token, it's kind of the treasury system, right? The Teddy Bear. You got TSFI. You got, obviously the PRC20s, the thing that I talked about, the PDAI pegging to $1. That's a speculation, right? That's the narrative, one of the biggest narratives in Pulsechain. You got PLUSD, could be PDAI 2.0, you never know. And then you got PWBTC, around $100. Could it reach parity, which is Bitcoin's price, 35,000, which is around 200x maybe. Obviously it's 250x, right, from $100. But yeah, that's kind of it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, I'm just gonna end the video by saying you can support my channel by buying me a coffee if you've learned something new today. I hope I didn't go quick over some points, but I think it was necessary because I wanted to keep this video at this length, which I do not know how long I've been going. But yeah, I just wanted to end by saying that I'm thinking of I'm working on a comprehensive course that might be split into two courses, a DeFi course and a crypto basics course, that will go into the rest of the stuff that I did not mention, and it will go into more details of the stuff that I kind of covered today. Stuff like the cybersecurity aspect of things with contract permissions, compartmentalizing, so the need of having different wallets for different projects and why you only want to separate them per wallet, because you want to limit your risks. And then the difference between cold wallet and hot wallet, the different attack vectors from that, difference between token and a coin, what is layer 1, layer 2, what is Web 3, Web 3.0, and then Web 1, Web 2. Obviously, Web 1 is like, I'm already going to say it now, Web 1 is like the normal old static based website system or networks, whatever, World Wide Web, right? Web 2 is where we at, but I'm going to keep it there, right? That's for the course. Yeah. And then next up, obviously, how to find gems, how to decide how long to hold them as well. And then just normal trading tips, graphical technical analysis, TA, right? How to check contract codes for malicious functions. That's another important one. And the tools that are out there that does that for you automatically. And then obviously how to check if a contract is renounced, how to check if the LP is locked and for how long, how to check the buy and sell transaction tax, and much, much more. And yeah, that's kind of the comprehensive course that I'm working on in the background. Might be 2 courses, so stay tuned for that. Let me know if you'd like this type of course to come out. This has been a taster on, crypto as a whole, number 1. Number 2, taster to Pulsechain. So welcome. You are a member of the Pulsechain family. It is really nice and welcoming here. Everyone is nice. Everyone's approachable. You can join the telegrams of Pulsechain, of PulseX, and all the token projects that you are invested in. For example, there is most likely a telegram community. But without further, another thing to add actually, is that I have my own telegram link in the description. The group is called Farmers Community, where we find different passive income, different kind of projects that we share before I make a video about them. So that's the early aspect of it. And you just talk to like-minded people who are here to make money. And it's kind of simple as that, right? The whole point of crypto is to use that ability to work smart rather than working hard. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to end the video there. Join my Telegram, link in the description. You can support the channel by, buy me a coffee, link in the description as well. And aside from that, subscribe to my channel and follow my Twitter, link in the description as well. And I'll see you later. Thank you very much for tuning in. You are a legend for reaching to this end. I give you a personal thanks. Leave a comment on what you think of this. Do you want more? Are you excited for the comprehensive courses that I could make? And yeah, I'll see you in another one. Bye-bye.